2 months after my last assignment, I received a top-secret message from President Erica. She warned me about something called the Entity. It's a rogue AI with self-awareness capabilities that can hack into any cybersecurity system. The Entity is manipulating global information, turning humanity against itself. It also created an apocalyptic cult with the goal of destroying mankind. Their fanatics are infiltrating the most important organizations. To stop it, I must find its source code, and the only one who knows its location is Gabriel. But no one knows where he is. I have a key that can destroy the Entity, but it will also wipe out cyberspace and plunge the world into war. I have to go into hiding because I fear that if the government gets the Entity, they will weaponize it. Erica demanded I surrender, right before the recording self-destructed. Then, I reunited with my old friend Benji, and we went to a secret room where Luther was waiting. Luther developed a virus in capsule form that can neutralize the Entity when integrated with its source code. But first, we have to find Gabriel. In a prison in Austria, Gabriel's former accomplice, Paris, is being escorted by 2 agents, Jasper and Theo. Suddenly, the 2 guards pull out stun guns and attack them, intending to finish off the agents. A brawl breaks out, and Paris joins in, helping the guards take them down, one by one. After a flurry of punches, Jasper is down, but Theo managed to pull out his gun. Paris snatches the gun and aims to fire, but the 2 guards jump in front of her, only to reveal it's me and Benji. Paris remembers that I spared her life, and I explain to Theo that there are no longer factions. We have to work together for a global problem. Theo agrees not to arrest us, and I ask Paris about Gabriel's whereabouts. A few nights later, I sneak into a major party in London. 2 agents spot me and move to apprehend me. However, Grace bumps into them and snatches their walkie-talkie and gun, giving me one and keeping the other, turning the 2 agents into our punching bags. Grace explains that she was sent by my director, but she believes only I can save the world and wants to help me. As we prepare to leave, 2 men suddenly appear and quickly knock us out. She and I wake up, chained in a room with a table full of torture instruments. A guard walks in and punches me, but Gabriel orders him to stop and threatens to kill Luther if I don't comply. Gabriel wants me to find a submarine called the Sevastopol, which is undetectable by sonar. Years ago, its systems were corrupted by a virus, causing it to sink, and that virus later became the Entity. Since the submarine has been frozen at the bottom of the sea for years, the Entity can no longer hack it, so a copy of the virus can be retrieved and used as the source code. However, Gabriel doesn't want to stop the Entity, he wants to control it. But the most shocking information is that the virus that started it all was the code I stole for the government years ago to save my wife. The Entity's existence is my fault. As Gabriel gets a closer look, he notices something strange in my mouth. Turns out, I hid poison in a false tooth. I break them, begin foaming at the mouth, and just as planned, Gabriel orders his men to revive me. I reveal the poison is fake and quickly take down both guards. Meanwhile, Grace gets the key to free herself when another guard appears, but Gabriel stops him from shooting. He reminds him that he needs me alive and orders him to shoot Grace instead and leaves. One of the first guys wakes up and joins the fight, so Grace and I have to team up against our enemies. Grace is nearly killed, but I grab some instruments from the table and brutally take down both men. Gabriel is fleeing when Paris, Theo, and Benji corner him. Paris wants to shoot him, but Theo reminds her they need him alive. Gabriel then flees in the opposite direction, while Grace and I join the chase. Unfortunately, Gabriel locks the door behind him and escapes. In another room, I find a strange box, and Paris explains that it's how Gabriel communicates with the Entity. Despite Paris's warning, I step inside the box and connect my mind to the device. Chains tighten around my limbs before the Entity begins to speak. It shows me painful illusions, including a mysterious vault. The Entity wants me to open the vault and let it in. If I don't cooperate, it will take control of the world's nuclear arsenal in 4 days and destroy humanity. It also shows me that Gabriel will kill Luther soon. Then, the Entity kicks me out of the box. Desperate, I rewrite all the information from the illusion and tell the team to find the submarine coordinates before rushing to save my friend. Meanwhile, Luther wakes up to find a dead nurse beside his bed. Turns out, Gabriel trapped him in a strange room with a bomb, after taking the poison capsule and killing the nurse. When I arrive, there are only 3 minutes left. The bomb is enough to level the city, so Luther must disable it to minimize the blast radius. This will save the city, but it will kill him and collapse the tunnels. Unable to open the door, I realize Gabriel wants Luther dead so he can't make any more poison capsules. I can't abandon him, but Luther forces me to leave, saying I have no other choice. As I run through the tunnels, the bomb explodes behind me, killing Luther. As I reach the road, I'm surrounded by Jasper and his men, who take the key. At headquarters, I meet Director Kittredge, who informs me that the Entity has infiltrated several nuclear arsenals around the world. They are having a meeting with the entire leadership, including President Erica. After they review my mission history, I explain that I need the key and a ship to find the submarine. An argument erupts because the agency still doesn't want to destroy the entity, so I point out they have no other choice with nuclear weapons in its hands. Just then, the alarm rings. Another country has lost control of its nuclear arsenal. Erica gives me 72 hours to solve the problem, or I will be held responsible for what happens. Before boarding the helicopter, I am given back the key and a mysterious envelope. Sometime later in the North Pacific, a plane drops me onto an aircraft carrier. I hand the envelope to the Admiral, who opens it to find only a date. The Admiral served with Erica and recognizes it as the day they both lost loved ones because their superiors didn't want to risk it. The ship is navigating a difficult area that could trigger a war, but the Admiral agrees to take the risk her superiors wouldn't. I tell her about SOSUS, an underwater acoustic cable network. If anything important happens underwater, SOSUS can pinpoint its location. Because the submarine crew's bodies were found by Inuit fishermen, they guessed the SOSUS station that recorded the accident was on St. Matthew Island in the Bering Sea. Going there could start a war with Russia, not to mention I'll have to meet my team at the right place and time to be pulled out of the ice. On the island, Benji and the team meet William, who has managed this SOSUS station for 30 years. He is a legendary programmer who has tried to warn about the entity for decades, but no one listened. William wants to help us, but his house has been overrun by Russian mercenaries, and they are also looking for the lost submarine. William tries to convince everyone that he doesn't have the coordinates they need. He only has the floppy disk with the information but no reader, because his superiors took everything to cover up the sinking. The Russians still force William to build a reader and give him 1 hour. On the helicopter, I'm informed that Russian ships are appearing in the area, and they still haven't received the coordinates from the team. If we fly around too long, we'll run out of fuel to return, but I ask them for 5 more minutes. Just then, 2 Russian jets fly right in front of us as a warning, so I decide to jump into the icy water. As the helicopters leave, I'm suddenly surrounded by divers who take me to the USS Ohio submarine. I meet the captain and give him the necklace the Admiral sent to convince him to help. I explain I'm waiting for coordinates from my team and ask the captain to raise the antenna, which could reveal our position to the Russians. While waiting, we monitor the radar, and I realize a Russian submarine arrived at the island an hour ago. The crew shows me a special pressure suit that can take me to great depths, though they admit they've never tested it beyond 300 feet. To conserve air, I'll have to descend very quickly, which could cause side effects like confusion, tremors, and even seizures. I'll have about 20 minutes to reach the decompression chamber, or I'll die. I begin practicing my breathing, and the captain warns that he'll only use the antenna one last time before shutting it down. Back at the house, Benji helps William build the reader. While everyone is distracted, William confesses that he destroyed the disk with the coordinates, but he memorized them. He writes them on a piece of paper and hides it under his watch, then discreetly gives it to his wife. Grace overhears and volunteers to help. A mercenary follows the 2 women to the doghouse. William's wife hits him with a shovel, and Grace jumps into the fight, causing him to fire his gun. The team hears the shot and takes it as a signal, so they begin fighting the mercenaries. Many fists fly, many weapons are fired, and in the chaos they accidentally knock over coal from the stove, setting the house on fire. Everyone continues to fight, so William rushes to the radio to send the coordinates. Meanwhile, on the submarine, I'm attacked with a knife by a crew member, a member of the entity cult. We both fight all over the room, breaking some equipment, while the captain finally receives the coordinates. I shove the man's face into a spinning machine, but he still tries to pick up the knife, and as he attempts to stab me, another crew member knocks him down. In the house, Theo and Paris are mostly fighting. Benji tries to help, but a bookshelf collapses on him. Paris is captured, so she shoots the guard to force him to fire, and the bullet hits his teammate, freeing Theo. When the mercenaries realize William is sending the coordinates, they decide to flee and let their submarine pick up the signal. William and the team manage to escape before the building collapses. Grace goes with William's wife, who teaches her how to use a snowmobile so she can transport the pressure chamber equipment to me. On the submarine, the captain tells me the coordinates are near Africa. I find it absurd and look for the opposite point, which marks a place near my current location. William sent the coordinates backward to trick the Russians. As the submarine takes off, we notice the Russians are tailing us. When the submarine reaches the coordinates, I put on the suit, and the crew reminds me of my time limit. To help with depressurization, the chamber is filled with water before I open the door, and I feel dizzy for a second before launching out. Suddenly, a Russian submarine appears and nearly hits me, but I cling to its hull and continue moving undetected. Using some flares, I search the area until I find the Sevastopol. As I enter, water immediately floods in, and the weight causes the submarine to move. I connect a device to the generator to restore power and discover many bodies that weren't sucked out when the sub sank. In the next room, I find a pile of torpedoes, so I have to tread carefully to avoid activating them. This is harder than I thought, as the submarine keeps rolling due to the flooding. Finally, I find the system bay and open the computer lid with the special key. allowing me to retrieve the hard drive. When I return, I realize the submarine is completely tilted and will sink deeper at any moment. I have to swim carefully to avoid the torpedoes, which are also rolling around. One of them blocks the door, so I'll have to escape through the torpedo tube. As I swim toward the tube, torpedoes roll close and nearly trap me, but luckily I make it out. It takes a bit of effort, but I also open the tube lid, only to find a torpedo inside. I open the next lid and see it's empty, but as I try to squeeze through, I realize my suit won't fit. I have no choice but to take it off, exposing my bare skin to the freezing water. Shortly after, the pipes also begin to flood, but I manage to push through and escape just before the submarine sinks completely. My helmet gets stuck on the hull, leaving me no choice but to abandon it. The submarine sinks into the abyss, and I have to keep swimming with only my shorts and the hard drive around my neck. No matter how hard I try, I can't reach the surface. Just then, Grace finds me and pulls me out of the water. She performs CPR and takes me to the decompression chamber to recover. A while later on the plane, I tell William the first remember him from an old mission. I feel guilty for getting William sent to the Arctic, but he's grateful because this new job helped him meet his wife. The team discusses the entity's plan and concludes it must have a hiding place before launching nuclear weapons. William suggests the safest place is the Doomsday Vault, a top-secret, fully shielded data server. I realize that's where the entity showed me in the illusion and guess Gabriel must be there. We have to retrieve Luther's poison capsule from him to combine it with the source code. Then, trap the entity in a 5D optical data drive. However, we must eject the data drive at the right time to prevent the entity from escaping but not give it time to launch missiles. First, we have to let the entity into the vault, so I'll have to give Gabriel the hard drive for him to do the combining. In Africa, the team navigates through tunnels until they find the vault. I tell the others to hide and proceed alone until I find a nuclear bomb. Gabriel emerges triumphantly, so I pretend to be devastated to hand him the hard drive. That moment is interrupted by Jasper, who suddenly points a gun at Gabriel from behind. A squad of agents appears, revealing they've also captured my team. Gabriel's assistant is also cornered, so he activates the bomb, which will detonate in 20 minutes. Kittredge has also arrived and asks me how to use the hard drive to control the entity. I notice something moving in the darkness, and Gabriel suddenly shouts an order. His men open fire, and a firefight ensues, with everyone diving for cover from all sides. Gabriel rushes to his jeep and drives off with the poison capsule, dodging bullets. I hop into another jeep to pursue, Kittredge and Jasper doing the same. As the vehicles chase each other through the tunnels, my jeep is pushed until I flip. Luckily, I'm unharmed and continue running until I see Gabriel escaping in a biplane. I almost give up when I see his assistant escaping in another plane, so I latch onto a metal bar to go along. I then climb up and reach the cockpit, knocking the assistant unconscious. The plane begins to crash and tumble, causing the assistant's body to fall out as I unbuckle his harness. I then regain control of the plane and pursue Gabriel, our planes colliding multiple times. In the cave, Benji reveals he's been shot. William volunteers to disarm the bomb, so his wife and Theo stay with him while Paris and Grace take Benji to the server room. William thinks they might not make it, but soon finds some cables he can cut to make the explosion smaller. Inside, Benji realizes his lung has collapsed, so he instructs Paris to perform an impromptu surgery on him. The procedure is painful, but it doesn't stop Benji from guiding Paris and showing Grace how to activate the server. Fortunately, both women follow his instructions perfectly, so Benji's lung recovers. Grace opens the server connection for the entity to enter, and she connects the data drive. In mid-air, my plane is disintegrating, so I jump out and land on Gabriel's plane just before the other crashes. Gabriel begins doing all sorts of crazy maneuvers, hoping to shake me off. However, I always find a new place to hold on and hide under the wing, making Gabriel think I've fallen. As Gabriel starts flying normally again, I move closer and punch him. Unfortunately, the punch doesn't knock him out, and Gabriel starts doing crazy maneuvers again. As I hold onto the seatbelt, the propeller starts to malfunction, and Gabriel is forced to fly normally again. He then tries to ram me. I take the opportunity to break his arm and take the poison capsule before punching Gabriel again. I also unbuckle my seatbelt, so as the plane flips, Gabriel falls out. The wind pushes his groin into the fuselage and his head hits the metal, killing him instantly. I then try to regain control of the plane, but the propeller catches fire, so I jump out with a parachute, but it also catches fire. As I plummet, I manage to insert the poison capsule into the hard drive, just as Grace ejects the 5D data drive. Power worldwide goes out, and nuclear weapons are halted. Grace stares at the glowing data drive and realizes the plan has succeeded. Others confirm they've escaped the bomb. Soon, the electricity returns, and Erica receives a call confirming the entity is gone. In the mountains, I land safely thanks to a spare parachute. I hear a voice from the hard drive and realize it's Luther, sending me his final farewell. This message is designed to self-destruct, so by the time Kittredge and Jasper find me, the hard drive and poison capsule are completely useless. Kittredge is furious, but Jasper actually congratulates me on my success. Sometime later, the team reunites with me, and Grace gives me the data drive containing the entity. Then, the group disperses to continue living in the shadows. This is the end of my story. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching until the end, and see you next time.